Welcome to Karen's ISO Book Show, where I give away free books. Today I'm wearing the Australian flag, celebrating the release of Australia Remembers Too, Customs and Traditions of the Australian Defence Force. Today, I interviewed the book creator, the acclaimed author, Alison Patterson.
Hello, Karen. Thanks for inviting me to your show.
Hi, Alison. About to give you an intro now.
Thank you.
Alison is multi-talented. She's the author of highly acclaimed Anzac Sons, Five Brothers on the Western Front, the children's version of Anzac Sons, the story of five brothers in the war to end all wars. She's also wrote children's books, Granny's Place and Shearing Time, and two books in the highly successful Australian Remembers series. Alison was a teacher librarian for over 20 years, and she reviewed children's literature for Magpies magazine. She was a recipient of a May Gibbs Children's Literature Fellowship. Alison now works full-time as a writer, publishing consultant, and a presenter in schools. Let's give Alison a very warm welcome.
Thank you, Karen, for that lovely introduction. That was fabulous, and thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your show today.
My pleasure, Alison. Alison, I love Australia Remembers Too, Customs and Traditions of the Australian Defence Force. What's it about?
Well, Karen, the Australian Remembers series is a series of books about Australia's military history for children. And in Customs and Traditions, we look at all those little rituals that you might see on Anzac Day and Remembrance Day and wonder why the service personnel do them. And some of those things have fascinating histories that can be centuries old. So it's a very exciting book and loads of facts in there, and I loved researching it as well.
Thank you, Alison. Now, Alison, what inspired you to write Australia Remembers Too?
Well, as you mentioned, Karen, I was a teacher librarian and for quite some time. And what I found was that I was constantly giving teachers the same non-fiction resources on Anzac Day and Remembrance Day. There's lots of fabulous fiction books, but not a lot of non-fiction. And so I had an idea for creating this book called Anzac Day, Remembrance Day and War Memorials, because there were no books about war memorials, and it's an important part of our curriculum. So we created this book. But while I was doing that and researching so much, I discovered there were so many fascinating facts about the history of things that we see on those days that I couldn't include. It would have made the book way too big for kids. So the idea for this one came as simply as that. And I had an absolute amazing time creating this book. I've learnt so much.
Thanks, Alison. Okay, what's the best way to find information inside Australia Remembers Too?
Well, any teacher librarian will tell you that a great non-fiction book for kids has a contents page and has a glossary at the back of the book where children can look up unfamiliar words. So we have a glossary, and we also have a detailed index as well. And that's so important for learning research skills. So it's a great book for doing that in itself.
Very good. Now, Australian Remembers Too is very different, or yes, so I think it is very different to other books teaching children's customs and traditions of the Australian Defence Force. So how is it different?
Yeah, look, Karen, to be honest, there aren't a lot of books that actually go into specific detail about those customs and tradition. They're more about the history of Anzac Day and Remembrance Day, and they delve into some major elements like why do we wear poppies and little bits of information about the Rising Sun Badge. But in this book, we go into lots more detail, like what do the ribbons mean on the medals? What is their significance? And that's an very important aspect for service personnel. Things like why do they wear the clothes they wear? Why do naval personnel wear white, for instance? Doesn't seem very practical, does it really?
No, not at all.
No, but there are historical reasons for that. Why do service personnel salute? And you might be interested to know that the answer to that goes all the way back to the days of knights in shining armour.
Wow.
Fascinating.
It's fascinating, sure.
It is, absolutely.
Alison, what's the other two books in the series about?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, the first book in the series is all about Anzac Day and Remembrance Day, and that's one that I wrote. But this year in September, we have another title coming out, published by Big Sky Publishing as well, which is called Len Waters, Boundless and Born to Fly. Now, Len Waters was a bomber pilot in World War II, and he was Indigenous, so he suffered a lot of injustices, but he worked really hard to achieve what he did. And it's a fabulous story about him, and also about the history of our Royal Australian Air Force. Now, you might be interested to know, Karen, that the Royal Australian Air Force turns 100 years old next year.
Oh, really?
So this book will help them celebrate, or Len Waters' book will help them celebrate their centenary as well.
My dad was in the Air Force too for many years.
Oh, wow.
It's still going on in a nursing home, but he was in World War II.
Oh, that's fascinating. Well, we'll have to have a conversation about that. I'm keen to find out about your dad in World War II.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. What would you, this is for writers now. What would you say would be your top tip for writing non-fiction books? I'm talking like for children's authors. What tip could you share?
Yep. Actually, Karen, what I have discovered is that I frequently suffer from a thing I have called research overload syndrome. And that's where I get so interested in the facts and learning all this information and going into so much detail about it that I forget to write my own words. And therefore, my manuscript is always going to be late. So I think a key element is to think about, if you're writing for kids, think about the information the kids can absorb and the questions kids will ask, and work to that. Otherwise, yeah, you get stuck in research overload syndrome.
That's a great tip, Alison. Well done. Like sort of always thinking of it in a child-friendly way.
That's exactly right. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Now, where can readers find kids' activities and teacher notes within your book and maybe at other places too?
Yeah. Well, we've actually created some activities that we put in the back of each of the books in the Australia Remembers series. So you can photocopy those or draw them out yourselves. And so lots of activities in them. And also we've created some comprehensive teacher notes, which you can find on my website, alisonmarlowepatterson.com, and also on the Big Sky Publishing website. And the book is distributed by Simon & Schuster. So local bookstores can order it in for you if it's not in their bookstore, or you can buy it online at your preferred online supplier.
Well done. So you told us all about where to find the activities and also where to buy the book.
Exactly.
So
thanks, Karen.
In that case, I think we've covered most things now, Alison.
Yes.
So could you please stay there so I can tell everyone about the book giveaway?
Oh, absolutely. That sounds like fun.
Okay. So who would like to win a signed copy of Australia Remembers Too. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Number 1, subscribe to me, Karen Tyrrell, author. There's a little subscribe button below. Number 2, comment on why you want to win Australia Remembers Too. The winner will be announced in 2 weeks. Meanwhile, please stay safe. Wash your hands, keep your social distance, and read, read, read. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.